All right, everybody. Hope you guys are having a great day today. I apologize for the late stream here. It's been a little bit more difficult to coordinate with our current living situation, so I'm sorry about that. I know it's kind of late at night for some of you guys that are in not in Eastern time zones, so I also apologize for that. What we're going to be working on today is we're going to try to finish up Detective Edward Michaels here, which is AfatbAnimates OC. Been having a lot of fun with it so far. So let me go ahead and pop on over here. We actually have my big old head on screen here. Looks like I need to get my V-Bridger going. There we go. Now I can move around. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. Since this is a fresh stream and I don't really have too much of a time limit here, we're going to take our time and we're going to do some cool stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off these effects and I'm going to finish up the cyber arm, and then we'll go ahead and we'll do the rest of the rendering as well. Turn all this off so I don't get distracted. Oh, except for the eye. The eye can stay. That's fine. Alrighty. So let's see. Go into my colors here. So we got the base color down. We need the black parts of it now. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to make sure, of course, all of our materials are rendered the same way, essentially. So metal and metal, yada yada, all that good stuff. So let me get my color pick here from the environment. Hey, Kazu, how's it going, man? Glad you can make it. All right, let's see. We'll use this as the color for the rendering. There we go. And since we already have a little bit of the shadows here, we're just gonna go ahead and do some stuff that has to do with like you know, like cast shadows and whatnot. So, and of course also like making sure that it looks like metal and all that good stuff. So nice. Well, hey, I'll have to see what you're drawing too. That'll be cool. So we're gonna have some cast shadow from that there. I've been having a lot of fun with this OC too, so it's pretty cool. It's a neat character. I know AFTA's been like losing their shit about it too, so I'm pretty happy that they're happy with it. See you guys like all extra excited about this too also gives me like a lot of like confidence and motivation and whatnot. So makes me happy essentially. We're gonna do just some like little with metal. You kind of want to just do kind of like some squigglies here. If I had taken the time to really like flesh out the environment, I would have just used that as the source of like the reflective stuff and whatnot to render it. But I do not have time for that, considering that I've got a bunch of projects and I've got other OCs to have a chance to get to. So I want to make sure everybody gets their fair chance to have their OC done by me. Since I'm only one man, I can only do but so much. One man, one drawing pen, and one glove. How does he do it? I still don't put out as much artwork as you guys do. You guys are like cranking it out in the Discord here, making me look bad. Let's just talk about that the other day. Well, yesterday. I'm so happy every time I go in the Discord and I look at the uh, art share part of it. I'm just like, God damn! Like you guys have been just like crushing it, like pumping it out. Let's go ahead and make that all shadow in here. That. You know, we're just trying to make it seem like it's like reflective, that maybe some things in the environment are showing up in the metal reflection, so ooh, I haven't listened Between the Buried Me in a while. Like one of my favorite bands. They're like super kind of like interesting for like a metal band. As you can probably tell by this song here. Alright, let's see. There should be some shadow from this overlap here, so let's make sure we get that. What's kind of crazy is like if I wanted to, I could have like kind of already called it a day with this image. But I wanted to, since we had a whole nother stream to work with here, I wanted to really, you know, just finish it up here. So do all the things that I want to do with it. So. Voice of trespass. Let's see, so that would be causing a shadow. So let's get that. And I was initially gonna have this like it was kind of like some like 2B like muscle fiber thing, but decided against it because that would have been like a lot of work. More work than I wanted to do, so I'm just being honest. It's still gonna look cool. Plus, I don't want to like, you know, sometimes things can get like over detailed, and I don't want to take away from all the work I've done. That's why I'm also being cautious, even with these the stuff I'm doing now, to not like go overboard on it. We're just kind of like reinforcing like the form and where the light's blocked, that kind of thing. And my beautiful wife is here. Woohoo! And I feel like all this would actually be dark. This would be dark, so we'll go ahead and do that. Especially things in the foreground need to be darker anyway, so. We actually need to get some of the shadow from the other fingers now that I'm thinking about it. That makes sense. And this would be all dark as well because it'd be covered by the other finger. Give it a slight blur, do like 2. And then we're going to keep this subtle like we did before, so I'm going to take it down. Build it back up just a little bit. So when I do my tone curve, it's really going to show up. So let's do this. Select invert. I'm going to do add because we want lots of contrast on metal. And I'll start with the yellows, and then I'll color pick some of the other color for the other side of the arm. Make sure it's not too intense where it doesn't need to be. All right. Now I can grab the other color. There's definitely a lot of different colors in here, but I'm just kind of like sticking with 2 just to, you know, make it so it's not overly complex. And this will make this pop out more on this side here. There we go. Looks good. Blur that slightly as well, so we'll do 2 again. Take that down to like 30. Let's actually, instead of add glow, let's make this glow dodge. And then we'll do an add glow. because I don't want it to be quite as shiny as the other metal. It'll be like a different like type of metal. So let's get a gradient map. I'm going to pick one of these darker ones here. I think that one looks pretty good. Let's try pin light. Pin light usually looks pretty nice. Maybe not pin light. What about... That looks kind of good. About hard light. Ooh, hard light looks nice and contrasty. Hey, Coral, how's it going? Let's try. What about linear light? What does that look like? Oh, that's real dark. That's too dark. Kind of thinking hard light here. Oh, you can scratch that if he wants.
No, he's going after Vegeta. Vegeta's in
there. Oh.
He's
being an ass, huh? Alright, let's take the brights up. And I'm going to bring the darks up just a little bit so they're not quite as dark, so we can still see the detail. It'll look a bit cooler, but we do want a lot of contrast with this, so because it's metal. So that's probably good right there. We can see it from a distance. So that's awesome. That's where I was experimenting with a different texture. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and merge all that together. Feels like I'm losing my mind. Kitties are crazy. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Oh my god, and then he's gonna go chase him.
He's gonna get chased. Maybe it's what he wants. Maybe he wants to play chase.
That's true. Alright, hell yeah. So we got like our surfaces there for the arm. So let's see, let's move on to, so the pants are a pretty big area, so let me go ahead and get that done. We just need like some local shadows. And I'm gonna shift this a little bit this way. Desaturate it a little bit more. And we're just gonna kind of do some of these areas that need to be blocked off. So have some of that here. Is that even showing up? Oh, it's not very distinct, but that's okay. That is all right with me. Doesn't need to be like super crazy anyway, because I don't want to blow out my image. Just trying to get the areas where it's like there's some like indentation in like the folds, if that's a word. And let's get like some where you can kind of tell where like the pocket line is. And we need to get a shadow here too from this from his cuffs here, so we'll just kind of throw them in there where I think they would be, because there'd be some, there's a little bit of light coming this way too, so we're gonna kind of just wing it. And it doesn't have to be a perfect shadow either, because it's going to be warped. That might not even be correct as far as like the lighting goes, but you know what? I don't care. It's my artwork. I can do what I want with it. Alright, that leg would be pretty dark, like right there. I know with these like more like kind of dress style pants, they have like more of like a big like triangle like kind of shape to the folds. So we're going to use a bunch of triangles. Let's see, where else can we do stuff here? We got the belts here. And there's a little bit of a thing going this way, so we'll do that. Get these belt loops. There we go. Blur that a bit. Take the opacity down. He's Shinjuku James Dean. I'll never leave alive. Alright, let's do some soft shadow just for like the shape of things. So we want like shape of his cheeks here and whatnot. Hey Sally, how's it going? Oh, nice. Hey, I'm glad you like it. I did do color picking from his from the original image here. Some of it I just like desaturated it like a bit, just so it's not like wasn't like crazy intense. But yeah, they did a good job with their design here, because they have all these like pops of like yellow up here at the top of the character, which really brings like the attention up to the upper body. So they did a good job with the choices. it's like no matter where like people are in their like art journey, like there's definitely like a ton of like potential and like respect and whatnot. So ooh, that's it's only letting me select that, huh? Deselect. What about this one? That's what I need. Select invert.
Stop it.
I mean, I know some people like get discouraged when they see somebody that's like farther along in their art journey do stuff, but always try to like encourage people, like, hey, you'll get there. You just got to keep working. Keep at it. Do not get frustrated. Let's put this over this. Oh yeah. You're like, hey, let's change the subject. Oh yeah. Hey, if I were you, I would have said yes, because you are at a professional level in my eyes. So
You've got to calm your kids, man. What is going on with you cats today?
like your fundamentals are like way more solid than mine. Yeah, exactly. It's like I've been doing it so long. Wait, did I do this on the right layer? I hope I did. Yeah, it just takes time. You gotta not only like it takes time for like the skills to like really sink in, but like actually knowing how to like just because you know the skills doesn't mean you know how to like necessarily like apply them correctly yet. And even then that's like, it's a ton of like trial and error and experimentation. Like I would say that I'm pretty close to professional level myself. I just need to there's some fundamentals I need to work on. Like I really need to work on construction and like construction and freaking like perspective and stuff like that. But I'm getting there. Oh yeah, same. Like I had my skills like they plateau for a while and then they jump up every few years, and I'm just like, wow, I did that. That's awesome.
Excuse me.
Why are you guys being
Why are you
crazy?
smacking each other? Stop it. Stop. Go play. Be nice.
Like especially when I don't want to attribute it like all to the medication, but when I got Medicaid for ADHD, that solved a lot of my art and motivation blocks. Like like I would have the ideas, but I wouldn't be able to get them out because there would be like an actual like chemical roadblock to me actually following through on it. So now that I have that out of the way, like the ideas are just flowing, and I have my doubts as far as like experimenting and my ability to learn has gone up like quite a bit, I would say, like to retain information and apply it and whatnot. So let's see. Yeah, it's like it's a night and day difference. Like it's crazy. Let's see. Let's use. I think I used that for the background. Yeah, dude, it's it's a major difference. Like if you can find a doctor that will, because I don't even take anything hardcore. So I take like Vyvanse, which is like baby ADHD medication. Like I only needed like a slight adjustment to get the results that I'm getting now. So It's worth it to talk to your doctor about it. Just be like, hey, I have all these projects and my concentration is being like is really like affecting my ability to get things done. And then what they'll have you do generally is they'll have you take this little like questionnaire test thing, and then after that you take a piss test to make sure that you're not on like crazy drugs, and then after that you got your prescription, and they just have you check in each month, make sure that it's still working. Yeah. So I was like looking at the hair here, trying to figure out like a 3D structure for it. Um, and I've actually been you're one of the people actually lately that's been inspiring me to do like more complex hair. So I'm like I want to do that. I'm like hair jealous over here. So so yeah, I've been really like thinking about like the structure of the hair and whatnot. I was joking when I made the post. I don't know if you guys know who Baby No Money is. I don't really know a huge amount about him. I just know that he's been really popular lately, and I know what he looks like. And he kind of looks like this. And I'm like, holy crap, I did not mean to do that on purpose there. It's just kind of how the translation of the character went. Because he kind of makes this like kind of almost blank like expression, like blank kind of frowny expression all the time too. And I was like, oh shit, did I just inadvertently make this like better? Because I know like everybody freaks out about him, so he seems to be cool. He hangs out with a lot of the creators that I like, so he must be all right. Yeah, 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 exactly. I hope like doing these OC arts, like people can take them and examine what I've done with their character and maybe uh, learn something from it and be able to decide what they want to do with it. I know Loontail is using the image I did for her for not only her profile picture but for her like schedule picture, and she did credit me, so I'd made sure I was like, hey, just make sure that you let people know if they're curious where you got this art from. She's like, oh yeah, I totally am. Like, she's giving me credit for it, so I'm glad. People can do whatever they want with these like OC images as long as they let them know who did them. So, all right, we got the pants done. I think I do want to do some stuff with the. Did I already? I want to do some shadowing on the skin here too, I think. I don't know. I'm just happy people are like excited about it, and you know, it makes me happy that people like my artwork and what I do. So benefits me as well. Let's see. So he needs some shadows from the hair. So that's one thing I definitely need to add. That'll make it things a little more believable here. So the background, I actually found a Clip Studio asset for the background. So this was an image that I found on there, and I did a bunch of tone adjustments, and I found some texture packs and whatnot, and I jazzed it up basically. A lot of the times, like I will do like my own background, but when it comes to like things like cityscapes and whatnot, if I have a resource for it, I'll just go ahead and use the resource. But of course, I don't use it one for one. I always try to like make sure that I've manipulated it enough that I feel like it's like part of my artwork. So, oh my God, Clip Studio Paint is amazing. So they have what's called their asset store. Basically, is where people can submit like images. They have free 3D models that you can pull into onto your canvas, and you can pose them freely, and you can adjust the like lighting and whatnot. So I usually do that, like to get these like really dynamic poses, and kind of like you know somewhat skip the construction phase. Like I of course have to go over it with like the proper like anatomy and whatnot, but it's just a lot of like time saving stuff for sure. Oh yeah, definitely. Like so I originally I was using Paint Tool Psi, which is like a free like really lightweight program. I know a lot of people still use it because it has like really good like again it's like they have community made like brushes and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I would highly recommend Clip Studio Paint. I actually there's a new version I don't have right now. I just don't have the money for it. But there's a lot of features that they just continuously add features that are really really useful and really good for you know uh, productivity and whatnot. So they also so if you get the at least the pro version, I have the EX version, which is the highest level one. You can do animation in it too. Not sponsored, but hey, if you're listening here, Clip, I would love to sing your praises to the masses and get a little coin for it. So consider you boy. It's just really robust. Oh yeah, I mean, if I have any sort of tool or asset that I feel is like really really worth it, like regardless if like even if I don't have a sponsorship for it, I'm gonna be like, hey, you guys should check this out, just because like it's just such a lifesaver as far as doing my work. So yes, toss a coin to your Aniki. 100%. Cue the Amy Grant music. You too can feed one starving Aniki a day for downloading this program. And it's just pictures of me in like black and white, just wearing like an oversized t-shirt. It's all dirty. No, I'm not starving, but I could use some help. No, Havoc feeds me just fine, and I'm capable also of feeding myself. So, aw, that makes me miss my friend. I should. Well, now I live really far away from him. I don't know if he would come all the way out here. I have a friend that's like very similar to the Bard in The Witcher. trying to make sure that I also don't overdo it on this too with some of these shadows. Some of these areas would be a little darker. Hell yeah, I got some Brodio flyers here to get me pumped up about what I'm doing. Everybody put your hands up. Oh my god. Yeah. Uh my cat's been he's learned now that if he rubs on the cables for my PC that it will mess things up and I have to give him attention. So he started that now and I'm like, "Come on, dude." It's like, "I promise I will snuggle you soon. Just got to give me time, man." Cat acts like I never give him attention, which is a damn lie. Probably give him way more attention than he should get. He is my son after all, you know, I have to be nice to him. Because I want to. Because I love him. Give his luscious lashes some some shadows here. I know Havoc's always giving me a hard time about my dude lashes being like wild. Little nugget, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't choose to be this way. That's just how I ended up. Not helping me with my humble image here. Alright, that's probably pretty good for that. Like I said, I don't want to go like super overboard with the shadows. I know when you're doing like things that are like stylized too, like you don't want to. If you do too much like shadow and detail work, then the character ends up looking like way older than they actually are, and it doesn't take much. So and this guy's, you know, he's in his early 30s, so it's okay for him to have some man-ass man features. And he's also been through a war apparently too, so you know. he can he can look like he's a little tired or a little older. All right, so we got that. I feel like the lighting on his face is pretty solid already, but I think I want to make his face a little bit warmer because his face is like the main focus of the picture. Generally, that's where you want your attention for your character to be. So I'm gonna take like an orange and kind of just do like an overlay layer here, kind of warm him up a little bit. And then I'll probably put a little bit of red in his face here in certain areas, so he looks a little more lively. He's still looking kind of pale here. I mean, the character itself, the reference is a little pale, but I don't want him to be like looking like he died in that war and they just like put him back together. I don't know his actual backstory, so maybe that's how it did happen, but alright, let's bring that down to like 50%. You know, I haven't seen Boardwalk Empire. There we go. That makes him look a little more lively. I'm going to turn the percentage down a bit, though, so it's not too bright. And where I got to find him skin tone here. I think I was looking at this before. Oh, Steve Buscemi. I love Steve Buscemi. He's so cool. Ooh, that one makes him look a little more alive. Let's do that. We'll give him that. And I usually like to put it as a soft light layer. Actually, normal kind of looks better. Now I think about it. Maybe if I turn down the opacity to like 75 on it. What about 50? There we go. That looks pretty good. Let me go ahead and do some tone adjustments. Corrupt mayor called Lucky. Oh, damn. Want some more contrast on the face here. Zoom it like way out and see if we can kind of tell what's going on with his face. Might need to make it slightly lighter. Zoom it way out. Oh wow, I'll have to look that up. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. It's always important to, like, when you're doing digital art especially, is to zoom way the hell out, because most of the time this stuff is going to be viewed on a phone screen, which of course, as we all know, is not very large, so there's no point in doing, like, you know, all sorts of like crazy beautiful stuff if they can't tell what the hell it is, like when it's small. So let's do Gaussian blur 50, and then we'll bring that down to like 15%. Alright, so we're looking pretty good here. Let's see, what's another spot we can use? Let's see, so the shirt needs some additional shadow work, so let's do that. And let's hue shift this a bit, make it a bit darker. There we go. Have a little bit of his body blocking the light there. Maybe a bit more of a curve. As much as I like the Mars Volta, it's been playing them a lot on my playlist lately. Let's see, most of this in here I feel like would be pretty much in shadow. So we'll do that. Do like a little bit of in between shadows there. Like that. Let's get the local shadows here. That would be blocking some lights. It's one thing I've been trying to pay attention to is like trying to think of like stuff like coming from different angles and blocking the light source. It makes it like a little bit more like believable that way. Like the inside of this wouldn't have a lot of light. Oops, I just realized I got some of the vest over top of this. Let me fix that real quick. Oops. There we go. Oh yeah, especially when you have like multiple light sources from like different angles. It's like, well, this would block this way, but then this would be lighting it back up, and yeah, it's it can get pretty complex. But if you put like at least a little bit of thought into it, it definitely like shows like in your work. Like I used to just not really think about it and just kind of like wing it. And I noticed when I started taking more care about it, it made things like way better. So a lot of this is going to be blocking here from his head. So we're going to do that. Actually, there'd be quite a bit of light blocked here, so maybe just like a little tad bit of a sliver there. So that'll be mostly in shadow. Then this one has a bit of a secondary light source down here, but do some just to kind of Sometimes I'll do like shadow or lighting just to uh, make sure that like the values don't get lost, like they're not like blending together. This is a bit of a softer material too, so I kind of want to blend some of this. Let's see. Maybe a little bit of his beard might be kind of going this way. Just because it's like kind of like an exaggerated like anime beard, so. I don't want to do too terribly much, I think, over on this side, but I might have a little bit of this curve here. Just to bring like a line that goes up towards the face. Doesn't necessarily have to be like accurate. It's just kind of like another trick to um, get the viewer's attention to go the way you want. And I'm gonna blend it out a bit. Oh yeah. I mean, you're doing everything like traditional too, so you have to be very like calculated about everything you're doing. All right, so a lot of this is going to be blocked by the arm. So do that, and then the vest, of course, and then some of these dips in here. And this will be blocked too. Kind of blend this out a little bit. And honestly, if I had known this would have probably come out a little more flat looking than I'd be happy with. So we're also keeping in mind that like things that are closer to the camera, like closer to the viewer, are going to be darker, and we want the background to be lighter so the silhouette still reads. All right, I don't think I need to do too terribly much with the lighting on this part. I think I've already got the general lighting going with that. So plus it's cloth, so it's not going to have a gloss to it. So we don't need anything crazy with that. So I think what I can do is I can just throw gradient map on it and then maybe do like some tone adjustment, and then this layer is probably done. So let's see. Trying to find the one that I use for the background, because since it's a white material, it's going to have a lot of the colors from the surroundings showing up. I think it was in lemons. No, not lemons. It's around here somewhere. It's one of these ones that was like a turquoise. It's really funny too, because I didn't want my Twitch channel to really be like focused on like teaching or whatever, but sometimes I don't know what else to talk about, so I'm just kind of yapping about what I'm doing. So if you guys learn something, then great. Otherwise, it's not like a full on tutorial. That's okay. Cool. Oh, wow. Immediately done. Just a. Just interrupt me for a sec. Gotcha, gotcha. I don't know. That's one of the things that I noticed, like watching like other streamers and YouTubers. It's like if you don't know what to talk about, just literally like say out loud what you're doing, and that'll fill some space. Where the hell is the gradient map that I used for this? What the hell, man? I'm gonna start at the top. It literally said turquoise on it. There it is. And then let's see. Let's do a tone curve here. We zoom out. Maybe make some of the shadow a little bit slightly darker. Maybe the mid a little bit too. And bring it back up a little bit actually. There we go. I think that's pretty good. I don't know. That's what I'm really happy about, especially with digital art, is being able to do these like after the fact like adjustments and whatnot. The heck? Did I not do the whole thing? There we go. Merge. Duplicate. Oh yeah, like once you shit, sorry. Crap. Once you have like a process down, it gets a lot faster. Like this used to take me like this would have taken me like a whole week, like not too long ago, but now that I've like really nailed down like my process, like my workflow, I just apply the same workflow to like literally everything I do, and that makes it a lot faster. And of course, you know, having like I always like when I'm just chilling, I watch a ton of like art videos on YouTube. Like if I'm just like eating like a snack or if I'm having like a coffee, I'll just go and I'll plop in front of the TV and I'll find an art tutorial on YouTube that looks interesting that I could learn something from. And I just try to like log that away in my visual library. Try to remember the what they did. Like a lot of this like process stuff and a lot of the information I got is from Mark Brunette. He really helped me like, you know, kind of guide where I needed to like learn stuff. So some of his color choices are really wild because he's French. He has reasoning for him, and I understand his reasoning, but sometimes I'm like, dude, that's not a pretty color combination. I'm like, I don't know why you like that, man, but you do you. Nah, he's great. Like, I think I got the most like improvement, especially like out of my digital art from watching his videos. I feel like even with like you could even apply a lot of it to like traditional art too, because it's like a lot of the same principles. Oh my god, it's playing Mars Volta again. What is up with you, Shuffle? I love Mars Volta, but they get kind of weird. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't know if I would have picked those, you know, colors, but It's, I mean, don't get me wrong, the work itself is still beautiful. I would have just changed a lot of the color combinations. Like he's leaning on like all these like, you know how you have like in color theory you have all sorts of different like combinations of like colors you can use. Like he's like really big on that. And it's like just because it's complex doesn't always mean that it like works. Watch him see my videos like one day and be like, dude, like you talking shit, bro. I'd be like, no, I love you, don't worry about it. I'm just saying it's just not for me always. I promise. He's actually a professional, so you know what, he knows what he's doing. I'm just a humble scuff VTuber over here. Oh yeah, yours is definitely like more in the semi-realism. It looks great though. It reminds me of what I consider to be like kind of like a golden era of like, you know, animation and stuff back in like the late 80s, early 90s where they just went so hard with like their work. And I don't really remember what pattern I had here, but what I'm going to do is just kind of imply that um, there's some bevel and whatnot on his holster. Oh yeah, I had a discussion with one of my friends about it. He works for EA now. He's a 3D modeler for them. But we were talking about how, you know, we were like totally wasted, and we were just going on this big tirade about how we missed the three levels of shading and like animation. How you had like the blacks, then you had like a midtone, and then you had a highlight. So yeah, Palia does the same thing. Yeah, a lot of the color combinations in Palia, I'm like, this could be so much prettier if they had just given us different color options to choose from. Alright, so I kind of want to get some of this implied bevel. Yeah, it's a lot of those jewel tones. Oh yeah. I mean, like objectively, if you look at like the rest of like the design and everything, it's good, it's fine, everything is well executed. It's just my personal taste as far as like colors go. Like I'm not really big into like earthy colors so much. I guess because like I'm a water sign. I don't know. It just kind of bugs me when things are all like extra brown or you know that kind of thing. I'm like, why? It's like this could be so much prettier if you just you know. Yeah, yeah. I use a lot of blue. I use a lot of like. I love using like magenta and cyan and turquoise. Yeah, I definitely have a palette I use. So that's another thing that's good about Clip Studio Paint is you can download pre-made like palettes. So what I use is called the Retrowave Master Set. So it's like it's like synthwave, retrowave like coded as far as like the colors that I use. I've been trying to desaturate it just a bit so it's not like completely obnoxious. Because when I first started doing like my web comic, like if you go back and you see a lot of the older work, like a lot of it is very, it's just like overly saturated. Like there's way too much saturation on it. Now I could go in and do like all sorts of highlights on like the beveling on this, but there isn't a point in doing that because his gun holster isn't a point of focus, so we're not going to do that. Oh, it it searches weird.
I got it.
Havoc's gonna link it to you. But I mean, if you see my streams, you see how I've like updated like the artwork and stuff. So I have started over the webcomic so many times, just because like my skills keep ramping up like so rapidly, and I know it drives Havoc here nuts. So I'm not going to do it again. This is the last time I'm like redoing it. But now that I have like a solid art style and a process that I'm going to stick with, so I can stop driving her nuts with that.
I'm gonna bite you if you don't finish.
Yeah. Oh my god, my computer's like going so slow right now. I feel bad too because I'll get like other ideas and then she has to like rewrite stuff. So, but I'm glad that she's collaborative about it. Like one of the reasons we got together is because she was a writer that one I loved her writing style because I could see it, and two like she was very like open to be collaborative about it because I had other writers that I was like, oh, like this is fine, but I tried to give them input and they would get so upset. And I'm like, dude, I just, you know, like your ideas are fine, but like they're also like really generic. And it could be so much cooler with like just a little bit more flair. Oh yeah, we beat Portal 2 together too as well, so I knew that we were gonna work well together. Yeah, exactly. Like the artwork that I do all the time isn't always like perfect on the right try, so I try to take Havoc's feedback as well and also apply that. I can be stubborn sometimes about it too, but I do my best to try to be as flexible about my own work as well. Otherwise, it's kind of like hypocrisy for me to be talking shit about people not wanting to change your stuff. And oftentimes, like, my own resistance was just because I dedicated myself too much to an idea that was like way far away from what we were doing, and I was just being stubborn about wanting to learn something instead of just applying what I already know and should do. Like, yeah, you got to have some room for interpretation from the fans. Engaged in silence. Yeah, I feel that it's hard for me like when I learn a new skill set to not just apply it to like literally everything, and sometimes it's just not appropriate. So my that's one of my been one of my biggest focuses now is balance. um I have to keep myself from overdoing things a lot. I mean, honestly, I'm only putting so much more work into this one right now because I have like this is a whole second stream and I didn't want to just like wrap it up with what I had, so I gotta fill some time here. Plus, it's fun. I'm having fun with this, so. Token style world with very detailed lore. Yeah, so with writing, like, I mean, I like Token, but sometimes it's like I don't need to know exactly what every single tree in the area looks like. I want to be able to imagine it. Yeah, Token, I was like, dude, like, you need to chill a little bit on your descriptions here, man. Like, I have an imagination. I can use it, I promise. Alright, try not to overdo this belt. I don't want it to disappear into the pants. I'll just get some more of the form back in here. Oh yeah, hey, if you're not shooting for doing something like, that'll separate you from the fold, then why even do it at all, right? Yeah, you should totally get with Havoc for advice with that. She's really really good at helping all that out. And I'm not just like glazing my wife. Like that's like legitimately like she's a really good writer. No, what I'm saying is like you could be friends with her husband, and you guys could like have have your writer moments, and Sally and I will have our artist moments. I like Havoc's writing because her characters actually feel like real people. They're not just like some generic like character. All right, so we need some more lighting here. Wait, did I do that the opposite of what I wanted? Oops, no, I'm on the wrong freaking layer again. Always. There we go. It'll lighten this up so people can kind of tell there's a belt here. Like our overall like stories are all like interconnected and whatnot, so it's like it's hard to I don't know how she keeps it all straight, but she does. I'm gonna do one more level, I think, of some gloss here because this is a belt and it's gonna be like kind of more of like a leather material, so we'll give it a little more contrast so it doesn't disappear. Not that the belt is like a focus of the image. I just I feel like it's kind of blending into the pants, so I need some more value separation. That's one thing that I definitely learned from like Mark's videos and stuff, is making sure that the types of materials have their own highlight level to them, is basically the best way to describe it. You know, if something is like a more reflective material, like a glossy material, it should have more contrast and highlight to it. So, you know, we don't want the leather and the cloth having like the same like gloss value to them. So, I got my DNA. My DNA. The hey, I did with August. I changed it from what it says. It just says BA on it now. It's easier to draw consistently. But he's a badass, so he has the. It's no longer the bullshit one. It says badass. So for those of you don't know, there is a manga series that I really like. It's about delinquents. It's called Crows, and the main character has a belt that says bullshit on it, because you know how Japanese people love like English words like thrown in. It's like decorative English essentially. So I kind of wanted to have like a nod to that in the comic. What the fuck you hurt? Alright, let me zoom it out here. We'll do some tone correction to make sure that it's, again, not blending. So because there's a little more gloss on some like leather material, we're going to bring up the highlight. I think that looks better. Yeah, the movies are great too. Like if you guys can find the movies, like even on like YouTube, like it's fantastic. There's so many kicks to the chest. It makes me so happy. It sounds ridiculous, but it's really an effective move in a fight. You know, you're gonna stop anybody's momentum if you give them a hard kick to the chest when they're coming forward. Now they don't use like the jab at all, of course, which, you know, whatever, they're delinquents. But Sarazawa's out here doing like fucking wrestling moves, which is fantastic. He's also, I love that actor. That dude is so cool. All right, let's get our buckle here. Yeah, the Monster Hunter commercials are so good. uh, it's funny because they end up on like the weird Japanese commercials, like compilations. Because people that don't know anything about Monster Hunter would be like, the fuck is this? Like, what is he doing? Especially acting like Diablos. It's so funny. My playlist is like, hey, I'm just gonna play Mars Volta all day. It's like, you know how you skipped the last two Mars Volta songs? How about another one?
I know.
Only I know what you truly want. Bow to the algorithm. It's like your parents getting you gifts that you don't want every year for Christmas. Hey, you wanted a calendar about cars even though you have no interest in cars whatsoever, right? Yeah, totally. Thanks, guys. I totally know what this vroom vroom go fast is. I like Mars Volta. It's just very niche. Um, plus, they also a lot of their songs are in Spanish as well, which is really pretty. But I don't know exactly everything they're saying. Like I know a little bit because I took some Spanish in high school, but not enough to really, you know, completely converse with somebody. Uh, I mean, they're good. I like them, but they're a lot of their songs are very like kind of like experimental, and then they're also like long as fuck. So that's another reason why I don't always listen to them. Because like every song's like a friggin' 8-minute song. So let's see. I try to listen to things like with a lot of energy to them when I'm doing artwork. That way, I like stay motivated for what I'm doing here. This band's very silly. They're a German band. I don't know. I don't know if it's like part of like my ADHD or something, but I need like really energetic music to do like anything. Like if something is like actually like sleepy and like relaxing while I'm doing artwork, I'm just gonna take a nap. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, I mean, it's not like I don't like relaxing music. Like, I really do. I just have to be in like some sort of state to do it. Like, I certainly can't listen to like relaxing music when I'm driving because the road noise on top of like relaxing music will make me like want to fall asleep at the wheel. It's probably why I used to drive like a madman, and I have chilled way the hell out with that. So thankfully for my general safety, I have calmed down. Oh yeah, when I work out, it's all like super heavy, like the meanest metal I can possibly find. Or it's like rap with like a really like energetic like beat to it. That's like gets me hype. I like rap a lot too for when I'm hitting like the heavy bag because I can use the beat and the tempo to like get like a rhythm down. You can kind of do it with metal too with like you get into like breakdowns. Like I'll start doing like power shots, like body shots and things like that. I think I just over rendered this belt, but that's okay. I was just talking. Ooh, Nordic music. Yeah. Hell yeah. Good taste. A lot of it's very very pretty, and then of course their metal is also pretty awesome because it's usually like storytelling. The harder stuff, yeah, yeah. Do you like Amon or Marth? I think Amon or Marth is probably my favorite like Nordic one that I listen to. Ooh, I'll have to send that to you. I really like them. They do a lot of like Viking related like songs, so I really like them. Like the album I like is called "With Odin on Our Side," so that tells you anything. Ooh, I have a specific gradient map that I use for like gold stuff. There it is. Let's do this pin light. Do I want this pin light this time? How's this look? Soft light. Soft lights looks pretty good. Let's make sure there's enough contrast. Gotta zoom out more. Oh yeah, you can totally see that. Hell yeah. I got talking there and I didn't even mean to render that much, but happy accident. I try not to over render the stuff that gets like away from the face because it might draw too much attention. But I've already done it, so we're gonna leave it. I think it'll be okay. Yeah, I'll put some of their songs in the Discord later. Like I think I have a couple other songs in that playlist that I made for Pensy and Suetry because they wanted to get into more metal, so I made like a playlist that has like at least like one song from most of the bands that I listen to or I like. So, all right, guys, we're almost there. So let's see if we can finish off these last few pieces here we have left to do, and then it's just checking the values again to make sure they're good, and any last minute like detail work that needs to be done. Shouldn't be too much more that needs to be done though. Because if I over render it, then it'll get more into semi realism, and that's not what we're trying for with this. So I think it's kind of crazy though, because like I'm really like heavily anime influenced, but a lot of people seem to identify a lot with like comic books from me, which is cool too, because I do also really like comics, like American comics were definitely like also an influence for me as well. But it's just interesting how people have different takes on the artwork that I do, like how people like describe it. I'm like, huh, I'll take it. It's a compliment either way. So Especially, you know, if people like the way I do it. So I'll take the compliments. I used to be really bad about that, like being like too humble about my work. I mean, it's good to be humble to the point where, like, you know, you're not inflating your own ego, but it's totally okay to accept, you know, praise where praise is due. I had to learn to do that, to be accepting of it. So yeah, exactly. That is a good way to think about it. Like I feel like my style is unique enough though that if people look at it, they're like, "Oh, that's Aniki's," you know. Like if they know who I am. And that's really what you want to go for, is you want to have like a distinct look that only you produce. So, thanks. Yeah, those, like you were saying before about like gaining like skills, like, you know, recently, the technical skills are the ones that I've actually been gaining recently. So that's where my improvement has come from. Yeah, exactly. No, I yeah. Yeah, if you can't apply it in a way that, you know, makes sense, it's a little more difficult to for people to, I guess, have positive things to say about your artwork. They're like, it's different because it's missing what, you know, the skills behind it to implement it. But everybody gets there, you know, like it's, well, I mean, if you keep to working at it, if you refuse to work on it and you're like stubborn about it, like then it's like, all right, you need to like take a step back and evaluate yourself. Like I still know where my areas of weakness are, and I want to work on them. One of the things that kind of like kneecaps me a little bit is because I actually injured myself like working out a long time ago, so I get a lot of like shoulder pain if I do artwork for too long. Oh yeah. Hey, if I would not be doing so good with the hands if I didn't have help with the 3D models. I mean, that's just real talk. Hands are so difficult. But I purposely, like I said, try to always include them in my artwork now, so I'm not like running away from my weaknesses. So like the more I draw it, even if I'm using like an assist, like the more my brain will remember the shapes and how to do it. So hey, Nympha, getting some water. Like all art skills, technical or not, are really just trial and error. You know, you just make adjustments when something doesn't work, and pivot, and then sometimes things might not work the way you intended them to, but they actually turn out like really cool, so you can actually just add them to your wheelhouse of skills. Like a lot of my techniques I found out by accident, just like, you know, trying like, you know, a filter or a different opacity or, you know, a different layer blending style, and I'm like, oh shit, this actually looks really good. That's my favorite thing about art. Actually, I would say is the experimentation phase of things. It's also, it's like really, it's pretty similar to like a scientific process as well, and I like that. So because I'm a nerd. Yeah, I'm gonna save in just a sec here. Good call. Nympha's my my guardian here, making sure that I do things I need to do. And this material is going to be kind of glossy too. So let's do an add layer. Again, I don't want to over render it though, so I'm going to try to have some chill with that. So we'll just put just a little bit and some spots to kind of make it so the values kind of stand out here on these buttons. Just so we see them, not to like make them pretty, but like we don't need as much down there on that one because it's going to be kind of blocked by the light. And usually like tie material is usually kind of glossy. And if I hadn't already put like the pinstripes on this vest, I probably would have put a pattern on the tie. But that would have been too many conflicting patterns, so we don't want to look like a Joe Star here where we're wearing like fucking polka dots and pinstripes and don't get me wrong, I love JoJo, I love Iraqi, but dude has some wild ideas about. I know he was pulling his ideas from like avant-garde fashion, and it shows. So sometimes it looks like a child dressed them, you know. Yeah, 15 shirts, like some shoulder pads and some cowboy boots. I'm ready for my first day of school, Dad. And Dad's like, you're gonna get your ass beat. They're gonna be like, oh shit, here comes that weird kid, Jonathan. Alright, I think that's pretty good. Bring down the level a little bit. Glow dodge. No, yeah, I like it. I really do. But like as far as like he's the only one that can pull that off because that's like his thing is like his I love the memes with the spot the stand user. So funny. And I think I'm also going to use this gold gradient on here. I think that'll work well with this. But we're going to do it as soft light. Let me bring it out here a little bit. And check the tone level. That's true. It's just Swiss cheese holes in it. Yeah, I think he's just kind of a weird guy, to be honest with you. I think like I don't know. He's a weird fucking guy, but I can appreciate it. Yeah, Josuke's pretty perfect. I mean, not fashion wise, but I love the second one. Fucking no, Jonathan's the first one. It's Joseph. Joseph is my favorite just because he's just a complete ass. Like I don't know why, it's just hilarious. Like he's not a person I would get along with like in real life. I'd be like, you're an asshole. Like I don't want to hang out with you, but just some of the ridiculousness, like him and his little competitions, what he has with Caesar, his boyfriend that he, I guess, doesn't know is his boyfriend. Well, is it what he put like the pigeon in like the chick's mouth? Like, it's like, come on, dude. It's so good. I love that. That season is so great. I have tequila, and they're like, dude, you're obviously a beefcake under there. You're not fooling anybody. Let's see, what do we have left here? Not too much. Been having a great time here. I don't think I'm gonna worry about this gun too much again because it's not like a major point. I'm not gonna worry about this hand because it's farther away from the point of interest. So I think I just have his cuffs here, and then it's just like little final things, and then we'll be Gucci. So, and these cuffs are also 3D, by the way. Like I was sitting there, I was like trying to draw them, and I was just like, man, this is a pain in the ass. So I found some cuffs. I was like, I am not trying to spend like a whole week on this. So we're just going to make sure that they look metallic here. And of course we need to have some shadows where there actually are shadows with the light source of our image, because the light source of the image is different than the model that I use. So I got to make it match up. Yeah. I mean, it's like that with Josuke too, with friggin' Kakuin. Kakuin's like your mom though. Or wait, not Josuke, Jotaro. And then he switches gears and he's like, I got this cherry for you, Jotaro. It's so funny. It's like, wow, dude. Where did that come from? Yeah. It's like you're somehow like 6'4", 6'5" in Japanese. He's like, I'm gonna climb you, boy. Oh, Josuke. No, Josuke's actually shorter. I think Josuke's like my height. Or something like that. Oh yeah, Okiyatsu. I mean, Okiyatsu was like, it was like Okiyatsu and the little like Krillin motherfucker were basically the main characters. That's the only thing I didn't like about that season is like Josuke himself doesn't really solve a lot of the issues. And then there's like that whole scene where like it's almost like like he time traveled and saved himself, and then they just never address it again. It's like, wait a minute. Could have swore that looked an awful lot like Josuke himself. Yeah, he's probably we. I wouldn't tell him that though. I don't want my face being all crazy after he fixes it. We're just going to put some contrast on this a little bit here. Because again, it's metal. We got more light kind of hitting over here, so let's get that. More in this area too. This is actually important to his character because he's a detective, so having some rendering here on these cuffs is actually something we want. So if they stand out, it's totally okay because it's a storytelling aspect of the character. Storytelling is a lot of the times the things that are missing from people's artwork. Yeah. Stop right there, you cyber enhanced criminal with your super strength and my regular ass handcuffs. Damn it, they got away again. How does this happen every time? That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. It looks like AFTA actually has like some. They look a little more futuristic here. Maybe I should have like gone that route too. Yeah, they're made out of the special, specifically the special. Yeah, the skies. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of like, I'm gonna do the motion blur that I was doing on it for this because they are in motion, so makes sense. Like that. And then what we'll do is duplicate and put it underneath. I'm gonna do some hard light. And as far as like refraction for light, I try to put like some red like behind it. Because it kind of gives it like a little bit of an effect here. Like the light spectrum itself as being like being split. So let's actually bring that down to like 20%, and then we'll do a glow dodge effect because I think that'll work. There we go. That looks good. And it still fits with like the lighting scheme, so want to make sure that it still looks good. And let's do a gradient map. Oh, Gavin Rosdale and your weird lyrics. That's kind of cool. I think I might use... I kind of want these to stand out because they're storytelling elements, so... Yeah, he's the one in Constantine. Yep. You're right. When I was growing up, Bush was like one of my favorite bands. So we're going to lighten that up so you can see it a good amount. There we go. Because like I said, it's an important aspect of the character, so we want that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he is a pretty guy for sure. But music is, for some reason, it's like very 90s. It was like that period of time where all the lyrics, I think, didn't really make sense for the most part in a lot of songs. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I dig it, but what are you talking about? For real. I don't actually know. There we go. That looks nice. Alright, so I think that was everything I needed to hit. So I think we're at the finishing touches phase here. Also one of those songs that has like the silence outro that lasts like way too long. It's like, can you not? Okay, this is a Mars Volta song I really like, so I'm gonna keep this one. Alright, so let's do our... Gonna merge that. Alright, so let's do that. I usually like to do hard light. Do Gaussian blur. Ooh, those cuffs are looking really nice right now. I like it. You know what? I actually kind of like this with just the hard light. I think the hard light by itself looked pretty good. Let me bring that back up and look at it again. Actually, yeah, I think that looks fine as it is. Maybe if I also do glow dodge is a bit intense. Maybe if I blur the hell out of it and lower the opacity down to like maybe like 10%. I think that looks pretty good. Then we can merge the whole thing. And I'm definitely going to do a motion blur effect on it, since it's... My whole thought with this is he is tracking down a suspect, and he's kind of like jumped down into the street here, and then the suspect might be nearby, and that's why this like a little alert box hologram thing has popped up from his like cyber eye. That was my thought process. So I'm gonna put some motion blur on these. We're gonna lower the opacity so it's not too much, so you can still see them. Maybe up a little bit more to like 40, maybe 50. Alright. I can still tell what they are. Maybe I can try messing with the blending modes a little bit here and see if any of those look good. That makes them really stand out. I don't want to do that too much there. What about pin light? Hard light, glow dodge, add glow. Kind of like add glow actually. I'm gonna bring down that opacity again though for that, if I'm gonna do that, because I don't want to be too intense. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so make sure I save. So we got that. Alright, so we got all our colors for him as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and merge those. And I'm going to end up doing some highlights here in a second too. So merge that, duplicate, put this over the lines. Merge the lines together real fast. Do hard lights. Give it some blur. Bring this way down to like 15. Might even blur it some more. Let's do 50. What we're essentially doing is we're taking all of the colors that we did and we're putting it over top of the lines. So then it makes, makes it look a little less flat. Turn up the opacity a bit. And then I usually do like a darken layer or two just to kind of bring some of the shadow color back in. Let's do color burn. There we go. We have a little bit of the colors kind of like going over where like the line work is. So it's not all just like, looking like it's black. So that's the main thing I was trying to achieve with that. Alright, so we can take this stuff and merge together now. No, I hit the wrong one. Shit. That flattened the whole thing. There we go. Whew! Alright, so we're going to merge that. And I'm going to we're going to do some white highlights here and there just to kind of get some like shine in some spots, just in a couple places. We don't want to overdo it. There. A little bit of lip here. Realistically, I could go in and do a ton of it on like this metal part, but I'm not going to do that because that might get a little wild. I think just a few is okay. I'm going to give it a slight blur here. And we're going to duplicate and do add glow. Do more of a blur. Let's actually apply the motion blur to it. Bring down the opacity a bit here. Duplicate, add glow, and we're going to put the red underneath. And I'm going to give that like a 20% blur. It's looking pretty good. Alright, so I think we can go ahead and merge these together. Let me turn on my effects here. Make sure that it's all still looking pretty good with what we have. That's looking pretty cool. And if I wanted to go like super into it too, I could also have the reflections of like this energy in the metal here, but again, I don't want to take too much time on this. I also don't want to feel like I've done more work on one person's OC versus another one. Trying to keep it all fair here, so I just had a little bit more time today, so that's why I kind of did that with this one. So there was something I wanted to do. Oh yeah, so so it's a difference and a pin light. We're doing kind of like we're gonna take his colors and we're gonna duplicate. And so let's do difference. We're going to apply that motion blur. Just to cut him out a little bit from the background here. And also to show that he's like kind of moving. And what was the other one that I did? Shit, I don't remember. Was it lighten? No, lighten makes it go away, so it's definitely not that. What about divide? No. Shit, I don't remember what layer modes they were. That actually looks kind of good. Like, I would put some motion blur over the top, but I feel like then it would get like muddy. And then you wouldn't be able to tell what's going on. I think this is a little too intense, so I'm going to find that. Is it this one? No, it's not that. Because I think it's a normal layer. I think it's that. Maybe it's not that one. Shit, I should have labeled these. Label your layers, guys. There we go. It's this layer. So what I'm gonna do is, I think I'm gonna maybe give this some blur. Let's give it some room actually to blur out. I think that looks okay. And then what I might do is take this and bring the opacity down to like that, so we still get the shape. Maybe make it hard light again too. No, not hard light. Normal's fine. That's pretty cool. All right. And I got this turned on. I'm going to see, I'm going to play with the opacity a little bit on this effect. That's a little bit much. Maybe 15. I think 15 looks all right. All right, so the last check I'm going to do here is I'm going to check my values. So I'm going to put this as a color layer, make it small, and see if it reads pretty well. Get my tone curve again just to play with it a little bit. Might bring up the midtones just a tad bit. I don't want it to all kind of blend together. I think that's pretty good. And then what we do is we get rid of the gradient map. And I think it still reads pretty well. I think that's good. All right, let me go ahead and throw my signature on here, and then we can call it a day. I had a lot of fun with this. I really like this. So let me put it. I always try to put my signature somewhere where it doesn't like super take away from the image itself, but it's hard to get rid of it otherwise. Don't want anybody stealing my stuff, saying it's theirs. Let's do maybe a different color would work better for this. Difference. What about exclusion? Maybe yellow. What about difference? There we go. And then what I'll end up doing is I'll lower the opacity way down here so it's not taken away from it. I can do my own signature here. And then this is 07 and 25. And we can bring this down to like, let's see, let's do like 30. And then let's do exclusion, and then we'll give it a little bit of a blur. Turn the opacity down. Hold on, let's move it so it's not like on his crotch. And it didn't grab both layers. Put it like, trying to see where it'll show up still. Nice. How's it look over here in the corner? Actually looks kind of good on the background. I can put it right by his hand. There we go. We'll do that. Alright, hell yeah. Let's flatten this. Save. Final. Alright. Let me move everything out of the way so you guys can see the results here. Let's do fit to screen. And let me get my head out of the way. Boop. There we go. Actually, I really like how this turned out. It was a lot of fun. I love doing these OC art raffles. So what I'll do is I'll put up a new post pretty soon. I'll also put up the post for the art share. That way you guys can share your awesome artwork with the world. Let me pop you guys over in the lobby here. I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me while I worked on this. You guys are awesome. I do not stream on Wednesdays. I'll be taking a break, so I will be back on Thursday working on some more Webtoon panels. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and a fantastic Wednesday. If you guys are not following me, go ahead and give me a follow to see when I go live. If you like the kind of content I do, consider subscribing. That would help me out